All right, I wanted to come back and do another video on the ZED. Now that the distractions in the house are a little bit less, I just have the cat for right now. So let's. I'm just gonna tinker around here real quick, get some stuff in the background, set up a couple objects around my desk, and then I'll start talking about it. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. Wait, okay, let's see. Just put this. How do I want to best put this? Actually, let's just get rid of the grid. Okay, I don't need the grid. All right, grab some samurais and buildings, and let's down. I need to rework the controls a lot, so because, for example, you can't pick something up from here, and there's a little bit of a block there. So when I redo this and actually make it better for the ZED, I'm sure it'll work better. I don't even know what I'm building here. I'm just kind of winging it. Yeah, this is yeah. I'm not sure where this is going. But let's see, what else can I use here? Wait, I didn't want to go out of there. Oh, I know what I need to do. Okay. Sorry, I've got a lot of bugs to fix because I've had this for less than 2 days now. So I'm finding all sorts of problems with the way this works right now. But it does work, which is awesome. I did not expect to actually be able to have anything this close to working this quick. So I'm extremely happy with the way this turned out. Let's grab a couple trees. Where's my nice cherry blossom tree here? I'm gonna put that right there, and let's grab it from this angle and set that right there. So now I'm in my little area here. Let's put another tree over here on my power supply. There. Hey, that's fun. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a quick little review about the ZED and what you can expect if you buy into this. Keep in mind that I have only had this for like a Wednesday around 6 when I got off work, and very, very few hours into this right now. I'm sure a lot of the things that I might be nitpicking on are going to get better and can probably even be better. The first thing I noticed was what you see in the video here is what you actually see. It's like you're looking through a box. Now, the Oculus normally has peripheral vision out on the sides over here that I can't see. But once you get used to it, and you just kind of focus through that. You look through that. You see past that pretty quick. I've used a HoloLens, and the HoloLens felt like the window was floating out here more. So it would be like right here is where I felt like the HoloLens had a viewport. With this, I can actually look right. I mean, that's when it starts clipping out right there. That's about the front of the Oculus, or the camera itself. So it's not a surprise that that's where the clipping starts. But with the HoloLens, you couldn't get that close, and it really felt like the view was floating out here instead of floating out here, which is much better. So the resolution on it is very good. It's kind of like looking through it at a standard definition TV. Is the best way I can think to describe it. The objects and stuff here are a lot more clear than the world because the objects are being rendered in a higher resolution than the camera can push through right now. And I think the limitation, from what I understand with the camera, all comes down to this cable that attaches to it. And they've said that they're working on a higher speed cable that will work with this ZED, so I can't wait to see that. I am going to try a test with the shorter cable too, because they said that the longer cable actually is not as good as the shorter cable. So other than that, I mean, it looks great. It feels like augmented reality. You can, put stuff behind here, and it's got a few little graphical glitches as you put your hand and include things, but I'm sure that will just get better over time. And as for ease of use, I mean, I have this working with my app in less than probably 10 hours of total time put into it. So it was very plug and play. I just dropped it into Unity and just started running with it. One thing that I hope they change is, and this is just from the way that I work, is when creating anything on a miniature scale, there's two ways you can do it, or actually three, but two ways in VR that you can do it. You can either scale the world down, you can either scale the object down or scale the world or the camera up. So instead of actually changing the size of this object, I just change the size of the camera and every object will shrink. So when I zoom out, for example, the objects would stay the same size, but the camera would grow to make everything bigger. Now that doesn't work with the ZED. I had to change everything so that the objects shrink and the whole world shrinks and the camera stays static. And that the reason I would change that though is just because once you wrap your head around it, you're dealing with changing the size of one thing instead of 50 things, and it's a lot easier to make a miniature world. Now this does work, but once you get too small, if you're trying to make a miniature world too small, the physics engine will eventually start to break down and you'll get bad results on the physics processing. So I mean, there's no real limit right now to how small this can go, but if I were to actually be using the Unity physics engine right now at this scale, it would probably break. But granted, at that scale, I couldn't even see my character, so I'm sure at this scale, it would probably work just fine. And I have a few demos or a few ideas to try to make a character run around an area this size, and I want to see how that ends up working out, and I'll be sure to report my findings. But I think it would be a bit beneficial to them to actually to do it the way that I've seen it work on Daydream and Oculus, and every other VR headset has been able to actually change the size of the camera, not the world. When I first designed this, I was in VR, and this made more sense to move the world around like this. I'm just gonna go. I can throw that stuff over there and set it on the couch. Let's see if I can. This might be tricky. There we go. Almost. Now, if I had more cable and room space, and I could walk over there and actually put all that better aligned on the couch where I want it, but to be able to work with it from out here is doable. So, let's see, what else do I want to say about this? Move that over here. Let's just set it right here for now. A lot of ways I plan to improve this. I'm trying to think what other people will want to hear, though. I'm not the best at reviews. I kind of space off and start randomly thinking about other things. Oh, I want to talk about the lighting. So I had to add some we have soft white lights, is what they call them, and it gives everything like an orangish tint, and it looked horrible through the ZED. I had to replace all my light bulbs with daylight, and I had to put in a couple extra lamps, as pretty much as much light as I could get in the room. You can kind of see over here in the darker areas where it starts to look like not nearly as I don't know how to describe it. It looks like crap with soft white lights. But once I put the daylight in, this looks more like life, I guess you could say. just lifting the headset off, I'm looking back through it. The way that the colors look and everything like that is the way I see it with my actual eyes, versus when I had the soft white light, I would still see the right color with my eyes, but through the camera, everything looked like really orange. I don't know how to describe that any better than that. But yeah, highly recommend daylight brand or style lights instead of soft white if you're going to use one of these. And as far as working in the dark, I haven't tried yet to see how dark it can work in. Let's just kind of take a look. Ow. Uh, that was me. That wasn't because of the ZED. I can very quickly, it's got good accuracy, low latency. I'm just a klutz. So, all right. So there's it running in the dark. That's weird. So looking out this way, it's getting like fuzzy lines going through here in the dark. But then once I look at my computer where there is some light coming from the monitor, it's not bad at all. That's interesting. I'm not sure what to say about that. It's makes this in the dark that looks like super clear. I think what I might need to do is replace all of my model's textures with just like super simple unlit textures, because this is technically shaded. And I think if I just use unlit textures, it might look much better. Because, yeah, I'm going to try that. That's probably going to be the next thing I do with my app, is just switch everything to unlit textures and see how that ends up working. If you have anything specific you want to know or to see in the ZED, I can throw together here. No, I don't want to promise I'm going to throw together any demo you want to see, but just let me know. Shoot me an email on Reddit, or drop me a message on YouTube, or I'll figure out some other way to contact me. But yeah, ask me whatever you want. I'll be more than happy to answer it. All right, I'm going to turn this off and upload it. Wow.